Everyone is welcome here, it's time to make new friends. Aquavide Uskava, fill your Glencairn. Share a dram with the spirit of Edmonton. Slancha!
Slancha! And good evening, whiskey brothers, whiskey sisters, and whiskey friends, and welcome to episode 49 of the Canadian Whisky Journey's Whiskey Review. I'm Dolph, I'm your host tonight, and we're continuing our Canadian Whisky Journey with this one right here. So this is a whiskey de single malt, the Distilleries du Saint Laurent, and it's in a fût de sherry Pedro Jimenez. So it's in a sherry barrel, and it was in there for a big 4 months as a finishing barrel, and it's lovely. And this is number 2. We did our 3 grains last week. We're continuing with this week, and we might eventually get on to this one right here, the tequila finished barrel, 1 week in the future. But I'm going to say it again. I said this last week. I spent some time with the owners, these 2 guys right here. I'm just going to grab the picture right there. So I spent some time with Joel and Jean-Francois during my initial Canadian Whisky Journey 2020. They're great guys that love to have a good time. If you're ever in Rimouski, you should visit. You really should. And while you're there, you need to see this as well. I think you should take a gander at their storage house. And I hesitate to call it a dunnage warehouse because they're not really walls, but rather Gibeon boxes on the side. So if you can look at the side, you see kind of sunlight coming through those. And that's because Gibeon boxes they're wire mesh, and there's boulders, there's stones between it. So it's got air able to pass through it. So really, they're influenced by the weather completely in this, because the wind gets through the moisture, so the salt water from the Saint Laurent and the north part of it, and the cold, the hot, everything affects it, and the wind dries the barrels as well. So you do get the spray, you do get the influence of salt, you get the fog. Everything influences these barrels in this warehouse, which is really quite cool. So if you go there, you should really check that out. So let's get directly on to what we've got here. And on the nose, now, butterscotch this week. Last week I said caramel. This week it's kind of a deeper butterscotch. And it's got the telltale signs of raisins, other dried fruits that you typically get in PX. So I've got that. My wife, when she was trying it before, she says leather. So we're going to throw the leather in there for her. All right. On the palate. Like last week, also same thing. Nice warming and coating mouthfeel. This one, I'm going to say sweet and Christmas cake all mingled together. Sweet Christmas cake, and Christmas cake, usually think rum cake, but this is a whiskey Christmas cake. So you're going to get your Christmas cake. We're going to put this all over the top. You light it on fire. It burns off a little bit of the alcohol, but leaves the flavor in it. And you share it with everyone in the family, or you just keep it for yourself. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. It's just the spicy sweetness all mingled together. And maybe the sweetness, I said butterscotch because the thickness of the butter and the richness there, almost a honey-like flavor as well. And like last week, you should let this air out for the 15-20 minutes, because otherwise you get that a little bit of solventy smell that comes on the tails or the tail end when you do your cuts. So yeah, and this has been out for 15 minutes, and I think it's gone now. But it's replaced by a sweetness. So it goes from solventy and sweet. So maybe the solventy helps with that. Now, let's go on. The finish, please. All right. So last week, it was kind of medium short, This week's more medium. And unlike last week where everything was melded together on the finish as opposed to the palate, this time it starts sweet, it goes to spicy, and ends off with a little bit of heat, completely pleasant feeling heat at the back of the throat. Yeah, I'm going to say medium. Not quite medium long. Let's go with medium. And really, what you should be doing is drinking this by the fire, or ideally drinking this as the night's waning on. Everyone's left. You've got your puppy beside you or some other animal, and you're watching TV, or you're just enjoying a dram. This is a good one to do it with. Yeah. Again, as another aside, and I'll show you this one too, because they go on Instagram, they go on Facebook a lot, mostly in French, but they do some in English. And what this one says essentially is that they're really transparent. So if you want to know information on the barrel type, time in the barrel, what type of barrel, where they bought the barrel, what type of grain they're using, where they got the grain, they're completely transparent, almost like Compass Box was. It's not quite to the extent as Compass Box with the percentages of each barrel in it. But these guys are they're transparent, and I really respect that. I really like it, because when you're a newer distillery, you don't have the numbers, the 10, 15, 20 years to impress people with that. You're giving them information so they can make their decision based on the transparency. And I like it. What you see is what you get from these guys. It's fun. And this one as well, and this kind of says something right there. I like this. Eccentric spirits inspired by the sea. And that kind of talks to them all on its own. Further information, they use local barley, new bourbon barrels, but it escapes me if it's more char or toasted, but I'm guessing both, because some of the kind of the ammonia flavor that you get off of the char is there sometimes, but that dissipates. That's kind of the solvency that goes, and the vanilla that you get with the toasted is there. So I'm thinking it's a single malt, so they can have barrels for throughout their distillery, and I think they're using a combination for both in this. Regardless, it ends its life 4 months in the PX sherry, and it's well worth it, I think. 700 mils, 47%. It's a good percentage. You'll need to pick up this beauty directly at the distillery. Get the distillery back there. Or if you've got a friend in Rimouski who can hook you up, you should really hit them up. Have them help you out. Help a brother, sister, help a whiskey friend out. Thank you all. Have a fantastic night. And I'm glad that you visited us tonight. And we're going to see you again. Ciao, everybody. Slancha. My Facebook's not working. Let's try. See you later.